Hey YouTube, just felt inspired today to talk about what we're doing with this economy, right? As a junk removal business, it can be very difficult to kind of navigate. You know, this is what we do as a luxury service, right? It's not, you know, people can sit around in their own, you know, clutter, their own junk, right? For as long as they want, unless they're like, yeah, obviously a tenant and they get evicted or something like that. But people don't. If we only counted on those, you probably wouldn't be in business, right? So, what do you do? What do you do to kind of push through this down economy where people just don't have the money? You know, please feel free to comment, you know, what your strategy is below. But I can tell you, you know, I'm in New York, Buffalo, New York. If you've looked at my company, I'm a Western New Yorker, and Buffalo's been, people might laugh at this, but Buffalo's been fairly resilient, right? Like, we've seen a lot of down times. So when we get hit, typically in a recession, things don't change that much, right? Like, there's usually little swings here and there, but I can tell you, like, we are absolutely feeling this one. You know, we are like, you know, struggling. Everybody I know is struggling, and I do junk removal mainly as a side gig. I have a full-time job, but I still get calls. I still, you know, probably 3 or 4 a week. Right now is how slow it is. Usually a lot of small ones I can do myself. I should say, people who help me in this business, but I haven't had to use them in over a month, maybe a little longer. You know, usually isn't for like a hoarding situation or apartment clean out or something that requires, you know, large furniture to be moved, something like that. But yeah, it's slow. It's really slow, and it shouldn't be too slow right now, but it is. So anyway, let's talk about solutions. It's the summertime, so if you go do junk removal, for a lot of my junk removals right now are backyards. People are trying to flip homes, basically people who have money, right? So how can you market yourself towards that crowd? How can you position yourself in a way that sparks interest with that group? Because the housing market, at least right now, is tempered back a bit, but it's not stopped. So you're still needed there. Not only that, but you have businesses. Like right now, I'm on my way to an auto shop that needs a clean out. They originally wanted a dumpster that would have been way too big. Talked to them briefly about like what we could do that would be less costly, plus including labor, right? Which that definitely made them happy that they didn't have to move the stuff themselves. So I'm on my way to give a quote there now. But how are you positioning yourself with them? So what I'm doing is, first of all, I'm very, very, very active on social media. Several posts a week at minimum, and you know, interactive stuff, but like something that's relevant to the time, right? Or something that's fun. So my last few posts have been about small businesses, helping small businesses, doing landscaping cleanups, and you know, showing some of the other things I can do. Like, I can, if someone's getting ready to sell a house, I'll trim your hedges, right? I'll edge the grass, I'll cut the grass. If you need landscaping on top of getting the junk out, I can do all of that. I'm assuming most of you know how to push a mower, right? Most of you can probably go find a junky old weed whacker somewhere for cheap, right? Like, try and expand what it is you do. I've even done pressure washing. I've done other things that really have helped transcend it and keeping me busy on the business side of things, right? Like, it is, I would definitely say it's advantageous if you're a junk removal business right now, a small one like me, to make sure that you diversify just a little bit. So some of the things I do, how I advertise, I use local service ads. I'm not big enough to really compete with the the big boys on the Google ads, the Google ad space. Local service ads are a lot more comprehensive in terms of cost and keeping at least some moderate calls going. And you know, people dog Yelp, they dog Thumbtack. I'll be honest with you, I've tried Thumbtack. I didn't get a ton of great results, but I got some results, right? Yelp, when I started out, it was a little bit beyond my price range for consistent calls, but I was getting pings, right? There was a lot of price shopping, which is what really sucks about it. It's like a lot of price hunters, but overall, it's not a useless tool, and plus they're getting better all the time. People dog Angie Leads. I can tell you that I've called a few businesses that love Angie Leads. So I mean, it really just depends on your market. Like, don't let anybody blanket say something doesn't work. I would say try them one at a time, give them 2 months at least, and then do the math. Like, you might see it work less effectively than something else, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It might be a complement, right? It might be something that works seasonally too, right? So if you try Thumbtack or Yelp or whatever, like in the middle of winter, it's dead anyway, right? So it's not going to be apples to apples. So you got to find a way to test these things out and see what works in your local area. Some people swear by Nextdoor. Well, Nextdoor doesn't do anything for me around here, right? Unfortunately. Facebook ads, they work moderately well to kind of like grow your page, which is good for growing your brand, but do I get a ton of hits through Facebook? Not really. For me in the Western New York area, local service ads tend to be the best so far that I've seen, and I've done everything through even just doing newspaper ads, right? Thought about doing a magazine ad and kind of got away from that as well. That seems like more of a, I got some FU money, I'm just going to toss it towards this newspaper and see what happens, right? Like, website, build up your website, get your SEO right. You will not get a ton of business through your website initially. SEO is the long game. So you have to get it going now, though. You have to get it set up correctly now. If you are not tech savvy, you may want to have somebody professionally do it for you. But I was able to use WordPress. I was able to use their tools, and I found it pretty effective. But it's something you have to monitor. You can't just like set it and forget it. I've gotten hits through my website before, which was really nice to see. It was really great to see that. But anyway, the other thing I would highly suggest is look for business networks, especially if you're new. I would recommend BNI if you have a BNI chapter near you. They were really helpful to me here in Buffalo, New York. Again, it's regional, and even within BNI, you may join a group that is not a great referral partner for you, or you might join one that is excellent, and feel free to hop around until you find the one that works for you. You just have to keep trying, and there is not one person that you're going to find on YouTube that's going to say, there's the answer, there's the thing that I was missing this whole time, you know, they had the golden goose the whole time, right? Like, no, there's people who are helpful, motivating, you know. It's even good to partner with other junk removal companies near you, you know, for knowledge, if not anything else, but another referral partner. There's jobs that I can't do sometimes, and I've had to send those off, and you know, have they all sent me a job back? No, but some have, right? Cleaning services are excellent referral partners because one hand washes the other, right? So they can't come in and clean the carpets until the junk's out. You know, you see junk removal companies, and you can offer their services as soon as you're done. Say, hey, I'm glad we got it this far. I have somebody who can take it a little further for you, especially if you're trying to get the most out of this property, right? So referral partners, I think, overall have been the most effective outside of local service ads. if you have not started on getting your Google local service ads together, it is a process. It takes a few weeks, sometimes a month, but you need to make sure you get that done. And like I said in a previous video, like your general liability, if you're new, is going to be your best route. That's the paperwork they need to verify that you are Google guaranteed. But go through that process. Remember, it's Google local service ads, not the Google ads, right? It's really silly that they don't have much more separation than that, but there is a big difference. One will, it will cost you an arm and a leg, and the other one, you can kind of go at your own pace. There's a major difference. I'd be happy to do maybe a separate video just on local service ads. If we're thinking that's going to be helpful, please put that in the comments. So try and make sure that you are keeping yourself busy with small jobs. If someone calls you and asks you if you do XYZ, but you don't typically do XYZ, ask them to send you a picture of what they're talking about, and look into it. Can you do it if you just like for example, I had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, can you come get these cars that are sitting in my backyard? My initial thought was like, oh heck no, I can't do that. But I looked into it after I hung up with them, and of course I didn't say that, by the way. I didn't say, oh heck no. I said, no, unfortunately I don't do that, but I can refer you to somebody who does. And looked up a local person who does do that, just so that I'm not creating a negative experience. But if you just look up a U-Haul car moving trailer, what is it, car hitch trailer, whatever it is, they're not that expensive. And I gotta tell you, if you move those things, first of all, if there's any value in those things, which you can look up yourself at the time of pickup or afterwards, then sell them for parts or whatever. But if nothing else, you're going to make your money by taking it to your local scrapper. So be careful what you say no to. If you get a strange call, right, the ones you want to stay away from are, especially if there's somebody who's got like one couch it's full of bed bugs and they don't got a lot of money. Like, be careful on those, because you might end up getting an infestation at your place of work, your business, your car, your home, right? Like, you really have to make sure that it's worth it and that you have the equipment and you're ready to take those on. So there's a lot of little pitfalls that you can fall into. But anyway, as far as navigating this economy, it has been a challenge, even with everything that I have said. It's definitely not elementary, my dear Watson. But it's an interesting journey, and I think that those who are willing to do more, willing to extend themselves to uncomfortable spaces, when this economy eventually does turn around, hopefully soon, I think we're going to be in a really good situation. I think the phones are going to really start ringing more so off the hook once people have money again, and I'm going to be really set up for success and happy. So anyway, that's just some of my thoughts here on a Friday. Hope you all are happy out there junking, and be safe. And go Bills.